Hey guys, what's going on? It's Z-Star, and today I have a video on the state of competitive mode in Overwatch. Now, if you guys don't know, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch lately, if you guys haven't gotten that from the past few channel videos, and I'm also trying to kind of mix things up and not just do CSGO in depth. So we're going to kind of mix it up today, but today's video is about competitive mode in Overwatch. Now, there's a few disadvantages and problems with competitive mode that I want to address in this video, and I just kind of want to get them out there because other people are talking about them too, and I just want to say I agree, and I think that it needs to be fixed as well. There are certain problems with competitive mode in this game that make this game not necessarily unplayable, but puts you at a disadvantage in things like if you're playing solo or dual queue, and it puts you at a disadvantage if you did not do well in your placement matches. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that the fact that it looked great on paper, right? So this game mode, they talked about it before it came out, like well before it came out, and it sounded great. It sounded super dynamic. It sounded like they were able to, that you're able to move up and down the ladder basically, and kind of as you got better, your rank would go up and you would face better people. And it sounded like as long as you kept improving, you could honestly make it to the MLGs. Like it sounded like that great of a system, and everyone was like, "Sweet." That's why people were excited for this game mode. People were enthusiastic about being able to play competitive in a game that honestly has been one of the biggest games of the summer, if not the year. Right? You want to play competitive and you want to get better. That's why you play competitive, is to get better and to face teams that are at your skill level and that end up being really good, really close games, right? So the fact that it didn't do so well really kind of rubbed people the wrong way and didn't really make the best impression on the competitive and hardcore community in Overwatch. Now, it did look great on paper, and the second thing I wanted to touch on about this is that they talked about this game mode for weeks in advance, right? Like I was saying earlier, and it just didn't meet expectations. So, like, the whole thing where you talk about it for a long time and you kind of get in your head about how, you know, it gets better and better and better the more you think about it. It's the kind of opposite effect of if you think about bad things, it gets worse and worse and worse. It's the opposite effect, right? So you think about good things, they get better and better and better. And maybe if they didn't talk about it so early, it would have ended up being a little bit better, a little bit better received. But they didn't, and that may have been Blizzard's fault, and that may not have been. But I just want to say that it could have been a factor in how the community received this game mode. Because, you know, when you make a competitive mode like this, you don't know exactly what people want, right? And people really don't know until they have it or until they don't have it. So Blizzard they weren't necessarily taking a shot in the dark or anything, but they were definitely kind of guessing on what people thought about other game modes, and like CSGO, for example, or League of Legends, and kind of backpacking off of that. So anyway, I have the two big things I want to talk about today. Is one that it isn't fair and doesn't represent experience in game. And what I mean by fair is that once you kind of get into like a range, you kind of just stay there. I got ranked 41, I think, which is, it's normal but low normal. It's like average, as far as I can tell. And I've been up to 45. And then I've been dropping back down again. So I'm kind of in the 41 to 45 range. The problem is that I wouldn't have a problem if that was just me. Maybe I'm just bad or whatever. But the problem is that people get in these ranges and they can't get out. Like, it's impossible for a 38 to go to a 44, right? It just doesn't really happen. Even if you're in a full team of 5, it doesn't really work that well, honestly, because part of that is because you have a party system, which I do like. And that if you are a team of 5, it will match with another team of 5. But just because you're matched with another team of 5 and it's a competitive game and it's a close game, doesn't mean you're going to rank up. Doesn't mean you're going to get out of that range. And even if you do get out of that range, you're into the next range of 41 to 45 or whatever it is, you know? So it definitely does give you more. It doesn't necessarily give you like a skill rating, more like a skill range where you're between these people, right? And these are the people that you will go against, and these are the skill levels, and this is the characters you'll be good at, whatever, right? And then what I'm saying by that is, like, you will probably play these characters because they're popular in this skill range. You don't have a necessary skill system. You don't have divisions, right? In League of Legends, Bronze is very different from silver. You know, in CS:GO, Silver Elite is very different from Master Guardian, whatever, right? Um, I might have that wrong, but you know, you get the idea. There sometimes ranks mean a lot more than they do, or mean a lot more than they should. This is the opposite. If you are a 44, you can probably beat a 45. If you are a 42, you can probably beat a 44 if you're good. If you just got unlucky on games or something, you can probably beat that person. It's more of a range, and that's what kind of screws people over, is that you'll go in and it'll, because the team is based on averages. So you'll go in, your team average will be 44, right? And you'll have a 46, you know, 45, 42, 42, and like 44 or whatever, right? So your team average will be 44, and you'll get placed with somebody who another team that is average of 45, right? So you'll be the underdog, which isn't that big of a deal. But your problem is that they have, like, you know, a 49, a 50, and then they have a whole bunch of lower levels. Those 49s and 50s, they're in the upper range. They are better than you. You will not be able to beat them, and that screws over the opposite team. That screws over your team because you have players that you can't outplay because you're not in that range. They need to be literal skill ratings. You need to be a silver 1, and you'll get placed with silver 1s. You need to be a Master Guardian. You'll get placed with Master Guardians. You know what I'm saying? Is that you need to be, if you are a 44, it should take grinding, or not necessarily grinding. It should take time to get up to 45, right? Because you want to have these ranks mean something. And I get there's 100 of them, and that means 1 isn't that big. But maybe you should look into something like 1 through 50, right? Or like Hearthstone. Hearthstone's system is great. I know it's a card game, but oh my god, it is great. They should do something like that. You start at 25, or I guess in this case you start with 1, because it's 1 to 100. 100 is the best. You'll start with 1, and you'll work your way up, right? And you'll get bonus XP or bonus rank material, whatever, to get new to get streaks. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. If you win more games in a row, you'll get bonus XP for your rank, and as long as you keep winning games, you keep moving up, right? Hearthstone system is great because every rank means something. If you are a level 24, you are not going to beat that level 23. It's just not going to happen. Or if you're maybe not like that, but like in the high level, especially if you're like a 17, you're not going to beat that 16. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that Overwatch should be like that. Now, last thing I want to talk about today is the disadvantage of solo queue and dual queue players. Now, I play a lot of dual queue, sorry. And oh my god, it is a fight for our lives every single time. I get that it's competitive. I get that you're supposed to have fun and it's supposed to be a hardcore environment. But man, we are hardly scraping by on those wins. Like, I think last night I played with my buddy and I dual queued with him, and I think we won by like 0.8 meters on the payload. It was close. It was a good game. But man, every single game is like that, and it's not fun. I want to have those games where you just kind of blow the other team out of the water, or even better, where the payload doesn't move at all on either side, right? Those are the good games. The games that you can you know, switch up your dynamic, right, every once in a while. That's what a good competitive mode is. If you can switch up your dynamic every once in a while and not have the same game every single time, not have it come down to like the last little bit, it honestly gets boring. And I can tell you this, we've played probably 20 games in the past 24 hours in dual queue, and we have probably lost, I would say, about 15 of them. Maybe less, maybe closer to 12. But the idea is that dual queue screws you over, because you people just don't talk in, because they have like their own little parties and they don't get into other parties, right? People get into this idea that it's a team-based game. If I'm talking to one person, you know, everybody else will follow. That's not how it's gonna work, and that's why dual queue screws you over. And so is solo queue. Honestly, solo queue is a little bit better, but not even as close to as good as especially a 4-man squad. If you can get a 4-man squad, you're golden. But solo queue and dual queue suck because people just don't understand that it's a team-based game, and even when they do understand it's a team-based game, they only talk to 1 or 2 people in their queue or in their party, and it screws you over, right? It really does. So I think that I don't really have a solution to this problem, but I think it needs to be addressed somehow. At least in solo queue, if you can do like a solo queue thing where like the match, it takes longer to create a match, but like the matches are tied together, so you will be facing a team of 44s. That would be great because solo queue really is a challenge. Honestly, it's a huge challenge, and it's a pretty daunting task, and you almost always D-rank if you lose a solo queue game. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this a little bit longer video, and if you guys did, please subscribe. We're almost at 50. I know it's kind of small, but I really want to hit that 50 mark this week, so please subscribe. Start the week off great on a Monday, and with that, my name has been Z-Star, and I'll see you guys in the next video.